Hey people, in that last movie, The Key of Life, I told y'all I was going to go back and read these first two lines again to get a better idea. And that's definitely what I'm going to do, but I wanted to hit on this first. In this interlinear Bible, top of these three lines was called the Introduction for Theophilus. And that was the word they gave this here in the first line where it says the Theophile. And this is just the first three lines. It's called the introduction. Then in this Berean Greek Bible, it's called the prologue. Pro meaning first, and log meaning the writings. Or the four writings, the writings before, which is a Greek word, a Latin word. And it was in this variants Bible that shows the different variants of the different Bibles, that it was the Pharisees, not the Pharaoh, but the Pharisees, which was, the beginning law, the old law. And so I started to read this again with the knowledge I picked up from the last line. And I got to this old Theophile, and I already determined what it was. I figured out from this first line, but I thought I'd check a little closer into it. And this word only comes up this two times. There's nothing else in it. They call it Theophilus. Theo meaning God and phile meaning love. They just didn't want to translate it. It only comes up this one more time in Luke. And so I went to look at it. It's in the third line. I figured I wouldn't get anything out of it without putting it in place. But in the first book of Luke, it's the same thing. Now it's the dedication to Theophilus. And in this variance, it says Kada, Lucan. Kada meaning according to or under. And Lucan, this is the old word for doctor. But all the names in the Bible, and anytime you see something that's all capitalized like that, that's code. It's going to read forward and backwards or backwards and forwards. Always read it both directions to get a better idea of what it means. The Luke, knock, y'all, or naka, all of con. And you search through the rest of it and find the name, and it'll show you how it's read. And you see this key word here, the priesthood. The key word is the herites. And it's the priesthood was inherited. And you get a better idea of what Khufus mean. The great pyramid of Khufus, and remained mute in the demon in Khufus. And so it looks like they built that pyramid to find a quiet spot to shut out all the noise of the city. A demon in Khufus. And the first time in line 31, when Mary was found favor with God, and you will conceive in the womb is the gastry. That's something you ate is in your gastry. But the next time the womb comes up here in line 41, it's that the koil, THT, that the koil, Koil, and JA, and then back other ways, IL, jail, the koil, jail, and JOKA, the koil, jail, joka. And that's just more evidence that the birth of Jesus is talking about, coming out of the Orphic egg. And this is the koil, jail, joker. That the koil, jail, joka, as it to that, which this help, WH, which THS, which this help, HLP, to help the plastic. That's where your word plastic comes from. It means, flexible, to help the flex of the pneumatos, of the winds. A Jew, to come out of. Ouija, good luck. And you see this word in the next line without the markings. And it's the carpos, the fruit that's coileus, you. And so coileus, when your horse is in colic, where that word comes from, in constipated, in the fruit that's constipated you. Consuming too many persimmons especially astringent varieties. Persimmons contain tannins, a type of compound that may promote constipation by slowing digestion. This may be particularly true for astringent varieties of the fruit. Colic, severe, often fluctuating pain in the abdomen caused by intestinal gas or obstruction in the intestines, and suffered especially by babies, coming from the colon or the colicus. So the carpos might not mean fruit, it might just mean persimmons. But yeah, this is the book of the doctor, the book of Luke, and that's what it's talking about there. And so you don't see Luke's name in here. He's the writer, so it'll be I, me. But you will see it come up here in Colossians 4, down here in line 14, and greets you, Luke, the physician, beloved, and also Demas. And you can see it's spelled different now. It was Lucan, Loukan. And you see the swoosh over the A, so it reads Loukaks, Lukacs. Lukaka is a African word for shoe. Shoe is the ancient word for the doctor, because he made house calls back in the day. But Luke, AKS, ax, is ancient word meaning to ask. Old English term had two forms, and that's because in the Hebrew they'll write it with an AX, to ask. So this Greek reads backwards, and it's yet is a pass as pays it to. Yeti, the Yeti, the old man, bear, pig, comes from old Tibetan word. It means a rocky, a mountain bear, something like that. The man, bear, pig, Yeti. It means a rough terrain. And so that's possibly, a place was a Yeti's, a pass, was a hard travel, as pays it to. The doctors used to make house calls, and they pay you a visit. In this eti, you look in Greek and in other languages in the area, and they say it means company. That's probably where it comes from, as pays it to, pay a visit, to bring you some company. As pays it to make, the yod at the end, to make. And then two moms, move the M over, M-A-M-S, two moms, Amu, A-M-M-U, and that was the word for uncle in that area in several languages. Amu, master, boss, or uncle, old man. Old man Luke, ask, A-K-S, move the K over, ask, of, and here's the one, the physician reads backwards and forwards, and so it's sore, S-O-R, to make at rose. When you got a sore, that's what makes the physician at rose. It has to rise up and come on out. Of soothe, to come out and soothe your sore. And then paga. And paga is translated in Greek as ice. And sometimes they'll put ice on your sore to soothe it. It works real good. And then gapitos. And if you put a space between the P and the H, it translates as is here. And that makes sense, to go to the Yeti Pass as pays it to make a visit to the Yeti Pass up in the mountains where the ice is. To mom's Amu, to mom's uncle Luke, and ask of the sore to yet rose of soothe paga, the ice is here. Two demons, D-E-M-A-M-S. Demum, Latin inflection of demo, to take away. I acquire, obtain, to remove, subtract, as in to demolish. So it looks like there was no Luke. It looked like Luke is the word for the doctor. And what they have as physicians beloved is the sore, the sore too, and the soothe, the cure. To soothe the paga, the ice, gapetos is here to demus, to take it away. And I'll have to read the whole paragraph to get this in perspective, to get this down. But if you just read it straight through, without all the directional markings, it says pays it to, greets. No, more like goes out to, as pays it to whom as the Luke, the doctor, asked of Atros, of Yatros. And Atra, a pediatrician, that's where that comes from. The Atra has something to do with the medicine there, the Atra. Of gapetos, of a gapitos, of his here, to remove, to demolish. So this Luke just comes up a couple times, just 3 times total in every which way around it. And it's because Luke never met Jesus. Luke only showed up after Jesus was gone. And so you wonder, how come he got such a position there in the Bible? The New Testament starts Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for all these other books from all these apostles. But it's because Matthew is math. That's the astrologers. Mark is the marks, the writings. That's all these marks that give the reading directions that nobody understands. And Luke is the medicine. And John is the clock, the time. It's been changed to reading, writing, and arithmetic, but it used to be Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. And so their ancient medicine had everything to do with astrology. And that's why this Theophile only comes up in the prologue of Acts and the prologue of Luke. So you see it in this Luke dedication to the Theophile. And inasmuch as many have undertaken to draw up, on a tax. On a tax is they. The tax is to taxonomy, to put everything in its place, to draw it up, the Theophile. A narration concerning or around the periton, the peritoton, having been accomplished. People, hero for coming on. Among us things, just things. No, the fragmatin, the fragments, maton. The tetragrammaton is the 4 letters. And they say maton is God, but it's the letters, the writings are the God, the alpha bit, God's house. But the maton is that which is it on, from ton, from fashion. And so it's the frag, the pieces from fashion, not just things. And so this as is just right here. Just the OS they'll say is as. And anytime it comes on a word, they just give it as. But it's the catch as. Delivered to us is paired. Paired is on common. The param is common. As above is so below. Is common how. And from the beginning, eyewitness is Papa. Papa arches of top to. The servants is upper, UPHR, ETA, upper it too. Not the servants, but the uppers from the arches atop of the genome noi. Up on the top of the genome noi, having been. Genome is an ancient word for DNA, genetics. And noi is man, boy, or we, us, in most every language. Our, noi, our, genome, our DNA, Toa, to come out of the word, the logo, the word, the log of. And so that's what this theophile is. And it's associating the theophile, the gods, the heavens, to file, associating the astrology with the genome of men. And then this seems good. It reads backwards. It's exod, E-X-O-D, like the exodus, to come out. The exod deducts, to take off, to take out. The of, E-K, of yom, of day, of moi, of me. The day I come out. Porch call of the cootie. A porch call of the cootie, the porch, when you go in and meet your young girlfriend, back in the day when she still had cooties, on the porch call of the cooties. The E-N, the N-E is the B, and it's the bath on a Naten pops in. The bath on a Naten pops in. The bath on a Naten pops in. A Naten is the divisions of the daughters and the sons, the domains and the kingdoms. And sub two B's, burqa, sub burqa. Burqa is her dress, and sub is under her dress. The crib of is, you're moving the B over, it's a V. The crib of is. Crib is a cryptic way of writing. The crib, the first thing you have to learn, to read. The crib, the cryptics. To catch its sexes, the X moves on the other end of the H here. To catch, E-T-S-E-X is. To catch its sexes, you grapes, G-R-A-P-S. You grapes say, criticed. That's like to criticize, to critique. Not excellent, but you grapes say critique. Theophile, the god ophile. And the reason nobody knows about this is right here. You were instructed. And it's, forwards and backwards, in, and then any, A-N-Y, in any, S-O-N, and then back this way, S-O-N-S, the sun's the pigeon, on Jip, on Jip, and the pigeon on Jip is, a pigeon is a gullible person, especially somebody swindled, one that you gypped. In any sun's the pigeon on Jip. Perry wino, this O-I and then N-O with these markings. That's the word for wine, O-I-N-O, wino. And around the wino, catch it this. And so this is, catch is a oral teaching, not just a teaching, but it's orally. It's not written. Ketcheta, a lesson or a lecture. Not just you were instructed, but an oral lecture. And it's different every time it comes up. You have been taught, you were instructed, being instructed. And so not everybody knew the methods to read and write and to critic, the theophile. In any sons, the pigeon on Jip, periwino, around the wine. It didn't teach everybody. It was just passed down. It wasn't written. It was passed down orally. They catch it this. And you see now the word for log on and the words is now just things. That was the first word in that first movie on Acts where it was the account. Keep accounting. Eton men for written, the count, the log on. Then Naya, then not the laughs. as fall they on. Not the lax. Laqs. Not the lax as fall they on. The lackeys don't get it.
Don't forget. Hooty hoot, tooty hoot. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm gonna cut this off here. Good day.